Welcome to Let's Review Movies, our part two of part one. Of two parts we're doing.
No, it's just it's the part. It's a different movie.
Yeah, but it's part two.
It's the part two of the part one.
Right. Part two of two. Yeah. Anyway, so as you can see, we have a tight script here that we follow. We don't deviate, So we are going to review. We already saw the movie. We're going to review Godfather Part 2. Little known facts about this, if I'm not inaccurate, is that it's the only movie first and second to win Best Picture.
Right. Two in a row.
Two in a row, man. And directed by Francis Ford Copolla. This movie's got, Part 2 has got the original actors from the previous movie, which I'll just cover real quick here. Al Pacino. Yeah, Al Pacino. He's playing Michael Corleone. It's got John Casal, who plays Fredo, fortunately the dumb one of the family. It's got Kay, done by Diane Keaton, who was made famous by Mr. Woody Allen. Yeah, Mr. Woody Allen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Talia Shire, who plays the sister of Michael, which was also the wife of Raggy, and hey Adrian, like my abomination.
Right.
And then the great Robert Duvall, who lives here in Virginia. He should be 100 years old. You got to do Searching for Robert. And then you got, they say you got Marlon Brando in there, but he's not back. But then you get the new characters. Lee Strasberg, which my understanding was a famous acting teacher. Yeah. Taught some of the best in New York. And he plays Hyman Roth, a Jewish Corleone type that used to work with Michael's dad.
He's got the Hyman Roth. He's got that weird technique, man.
Yeah,
it's just like.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
He was hard-headed. I know.
Right.
When somebody put a bullet in his eye, I didn't say anything.
He's coughing.
Yeah, he's like, but that was his method on that one. That was weird, wasn't it? So
I thought you were joking when you first told me. You said he coughs.
Yeah, he goes. Supposed to have a heart problem, like Michael says. Yeah, he's dying of the same heart attack for 25 years.
Yeah.
He's
one of the big guys, really.
Right. So he's one of the big guys, and he lives in Miami, and he's trying to make a deal. And it's all patterned after what really happened during that time, where the mafia was trying to get into Cuba, which is 93 miles away from us. Right. And it was right before the revolution, which was Fidel Castro. I grew up with Fidel Castro being, around all the time.
Right.
And he died just very recently. And so that's the premise of the movie, that the Corleone family has moved out to Nevada. So now they wear silk suits, and they're in Lake Tahoe, and they've sold all their interests in the East Coast, and now they're in the West Coast. They're buying casinos. Remember from the first movie? No, you don't buy me out. I buy you out. I made my bones when you were just a little kid. Mo Green. So this is a tricky one because they've moved their whole family, including Robert Duvall as part of the family. And Michael is getting paranoid. And the new characters, who are the new characters? You gave one of them a name, the drunk guy. Frank Penta.
Pentagonoli. Something like that, if you say the full name.
Yeah.
But
and he's got this voice.
Right.
It's kind of like he can't catch his breath.
He's like,
Michael,
he's screaming.
You got me waiting in the lobby, Michael. Right.
And then we got the bodyguard
The new bodyguard of Al Pacino.
because he goes out to he's paranoid. He's trying to figure out who's stabbing him in the back. It's the same way in the first Godfather, Marlon Brando, Vito. He's trying to find out who is, the backstabber.
So his name is Al. He's Al Neary, done
Right.
by Richard Bright. Very interesting actor. Always like, it's
He
a
was
lot of
very,
looks.
I don't think he said a single word that because he was just
Yeah.
his bodyguard. He was just there to protect him.
He
They
didn't
had,
say a
like,
single
hands.
word.
Yeah.
What about the old man? The old man that was his hitman.
Oh man.
Yeah, the ones dressed in black.
Yeah, that's the bodyguard.
Oh no, but there's two bodyguards, remember? There's Al Neary. He was one of the original bodyguards, but
Yeah.
he'd kill people, right?
Yeah,
And then there's the one dressed in black.
that's him.
No, he's the one dressed in black is the one that he took on the trip with him. But his name is Amarillo.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
Michael's bodyguard. He shows up as Michael's bodyguard. That's what they call him.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, but he's got another one. The guy
He's got one bodyguard and he's got one
then who's Al?
who's
Al.
Al.
Al's-
About it.
Al's the guy that sits with him in the chair and is always looking at him. Hey, how can we make this happen? And then, he.
That's not his bodyguard though.
Okay, then he's his what did Chicho say? Then he's his what? He's his he pushes buttons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do? I push buttons. That guy doesn't talk either.
No, he does.
Well, there's a confusion because there's another guy. Anyway, the whole point is it's new characters. And then what's the coolest part of this movie? About, the new character they bring in, but it's a flashback.
Yeah. They do a flashback of Vito's life and how he grew up. The movie starts with him.
Yeah.
And as a kid and what happens to him and how he grows up to become a mafia leader, and you see how he kind of gets his mannerisms and his intelligence, because he comes from nothing. You see that he comes from nothing and he built it all himself. His business, his life, his family, everything. It's all built by himself. And you'll see. I think that's my favorite part of the movie because it kind of gives like a connection to modern time, because then now you're realizing, wow, they were this huge empire when they started, and now it's crashing down because people are trying to take over, trying to be the best. And that's Michael too. He's trying to be the best.
So just a quick little backstory, 1900s to about late 1890s, 1900s to, about 1910, 20s. A lot of Italians came here. They opened the doors. So remember his name is Andolini.
Yeah.
He's not Corleone. So the reason why the family's called the Corleone family, like it always happened, they'd come through Ellis Island. The people wouldn't be understanding their names. They said, "You're called Vito." They said, "What's his name?" And he doesn't speak English. And he goes, it looks at his tag, Vito Andolini de Corleone, which means from the town of Corleone. The guy just goes, Vito Corleone.
Because he thought Andolini was his middle name.
Exactly. And it happens to people that come from Latin America. Like we're Hispanic. It happens. My dad had like 14 names. He was Leonel Ruiz de Cardona, Jesucristo. And he just cut it and he said, okay, I got my first name and my last name. And that's what we did.
It's the same way with my grandfather on my mom's side. He has like 10 birthdays. And it was funny because a few days ago, my mom called me and she goes like, "Hey, say happy birthday." I'm like, "Didn't we just say happy birthday last month?" She's like, "Yeah, this is his second one."
Yeah, because we don't know when he was born.
They don't know when his birthday is. So
yeah, he's like 100, and we don't know when he was born.
Right. So we practically give him.
It could be 200. We're not sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't. He's a
I know,
horrible.
and his background is would be interesting to find out because, but he's a self-made man too,
Right.
like my like Vito Andolini.
So it connects. It's
It
kind of a
connects
common
to
thing with
us,
people.
right? The immigrant thing, right?
That's right.
So I'm like Michael.
Like Michael, he's the second generation.
You're like Godfather 3. You'll see that. so so the flashback, yeah, done by the great
Robert De Niro.
Roberto De Niro. Super young.
Because he looks so
young.
young in this movie, man.
Oh my God, but he even does and he goes, Michael, hey,
Say goodbye, Michael.
say goodbye, Michael. And the black hand
Crazy.
wearing the white suit, the evil guy, 1900s. He's in, the crappiest place. And it's like, let me wet my beak. Give me something. Is that like the Star Wars?
He's referring to the mafia boss if they had to deal with Vito and all the guys that he grew up with that they had to deal with when they were growing up. And
Right.
that's kind of what got Vito into like becoming the mafia because before
Right.
that he would have just been a worker.
He was just a worker, and and we call that guy a punk. He didn't have a crew. He just scared people. Right. He pulled out knives and he scares the locals. And then they've always said that, like in Goodfellas, what's the mafia? It's protection from other people and favors. And then remember, that's where you meet all of his crew members that he has in the first movie that they're old, the skinny guy and the fat guy, and Desio and Clemenza. And Clemenza gained a lot of weight. He was a little chubby too in the 1920s. So in retrospect, all these immigrants came, 1900s, 1920s. So that's around 1920. He comes to America. Right. We're not going to tell you why he had to come in America, but because it's very interesting.
I think the main thing that you have to pay attention to is how I think that he's trying to connect how Vito and Michael are the same.
Yes.
Vito was alone. Michael was always alone. You'll see that. But they were also just born naturals. You know what I mean? Like when Michael came into the family business, he's a natural. When Vito came into the business, he was a natural. And they were always the last guys to come in. Clemenza and Tessio were already in the business. And he came in and it's just natural.
Well, it's also like things are handed down genetically, and sometimes it's the youngest. And Sonny was, it's a movie, but Sonny represents like just pure emotion and overreacting. And you gotta remember, Michael went to war, and Michael went to college, and Michael, he's just a different kind of guy, and he's more like his dad. He's very analytical. But one of the things I love about De Niro that he did to the role was how poignant it was. Like he was like, when he lost his job and the guy offered him food, and he goes, no, 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 no. And then he brings a pear and he puts it on the table, and his wife's like, what a nice pear. And he's like, yes. And he kisses her, and then they eat the pear. And then flash forward, we're not going to tell you everything, but he tells you, like in the first Godfather, they show what he did in the first Godfather. What he said is what he did when he grew up. He said, I never wanted to be under the fingers of other people. I didn't want to be under the fingers of big shots. What I wanted for you, Michael, is for you to go and be the big shot. Remember? And then Michael says what? He says, it's not enough time. It'll be okay. There wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
And that's the dream of every immigrant, is that their son will be the best. But you'll see what made him the Godfather in that neighborhood is he did what was necessary to protect his family.
And he did it without, you know, really without remorse.
Yeah.
He did it because he needed to. He did it, you know, because he had to. And you see, you know, you gain a respect for him. Of course, in the first Godfather, you've learned that he's a smart guy, but you know, you don't get to see him in action because he's old.
Because he's old.
And in the second movie, you get to see him in action. You get to see like who he really was, instead of seeing him walking around, barely even able to, you know, walk, and you know, old. You see him young, and you see, you know, that's why he is the leading man. That's why he's like the big head of all the mafias.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And
They connected perfectly. He's just,
it,
you know,
yeah, it's
hopeless.
hard to do flashbacks and fast forward flashbacks. They're in the 1950s in Lake Tahoe, where in the movie they just in the first movie, The Godfather One, they were in 1946, right after the war was over. You get clues.
Right.
This teaches you about history. And then they're in the 50s, and you know, the economy's booming, and he's having to deal now with modern prejudice, modern problems.
Right.
He can't hold back all the people. And I would say Michael's getting paranoid.
Yeah.
He's going into overdrive.
I mean, it kind of brings the mafia really back to reality, because in that first movie, in the, you know, the Goodfellas movie too, it's kind of like a fantasy. It's, you know, it is how it was, but you know, in those movies they were just killing people. They would just go to wherever they wanted. They would kill people. They had the power of the police, so the police wouldn't say anything about it. In this second movie, it's a lot more business, because they have to be careful now, because they can't just go and kill somebody and get away with it as easy as they could before.
Right. And they're not entrenched in the West Coast, and then they got to deal with West Coast people that, you
Right.
know.
And it's strictly business. And then,
Yeah.
you know, you get involved with the government, you get involved with, you know, politics. It leads you, it's harder now, because, you know, people are getting smarter. They're not just gonna, you know, fall to the mafia. So you kind of see how, you know, everything's coming back to reality. Everybody's realizing, you know, it's not gonna be like this forever.
And I love the use of doors. Godfather One, the doors, you know, they show him becoming the Godfather Michael, and then the doors of what he does, you know, of what Michael does to his family. We're not going to say the
And
the
that's
closing the doors.
that's the main thing. Michael is just such a different person
Yeah.
in this movie, you know, because he's the lead man now. He holds all the power. He doesn't have his dad anymore. It's not, you know, he's got to do it himself. And you know, he begins to look like his dad, stressed all the time, never really happy. You know what I mean?
Right. And he doesn't notice. And he asks questions. He goes to his mother and says, "Mother, can a person lose their family?" In Italian.
Yeah.
And he goes, and she doesn't understand. She's like, "What do you mean?" Because he's planning to do things that are messed up.
And
So,
so overall, you know, these two movies, they're really beautiful movies. Francis Ford Copolla and Al Pacino. It's, you know, it's a good duo. You think of duos, you think of guys that always work together. You know, it's these two guys. You know, I think that the movies just go so well together. It's a perfect series. You know what I mean? We're gonna emphasize those two, because these two are just, and they won
yeah.
Best Picture 2 times in a row.
And there's so much that we can talk about this movie. It's so complex. And, you know,
And
for
once
the
again,
time,
it's a long movie.
it's a 3-hour movie with an intermission in it.
Both of them are long, and you have to really be invested in the movie, and you know, to watch it. So we're gonna say this again and again. We said in the last one, we're saying this one. You gotta really, you know, focus and understand the pictures of the
Be on
movie,
your
the
phone.
ideas.
You can't be on your phone.
Can't
Yeah.
be on, yeah. There's some movies where you can be on your phone, you can put it in the background, you know, like Avengers movies. You can kind of be on your phone.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
action movies. You kind of, but this is not action. This is understanding the characters, understanding the plot. You have to pay attention. If you can do that, I say you go watch it.
and and you know, this goes into it's epic. In the first movie, in New York. Then Michael has to go to Italy.
Right.
I feel like you're watching like an epic movie.
Right.
In this one, they're all of a sudden in Lake Tahoe. And then you're like, what the hell? They're not anywhere near New York. And then it's flashing back to 30 years ago in Italy again. And then it comes back and they go to Cuba. And then you experience the revolution of Fidel Castro taking over Cuba. Can you imagine writing that down? Okay, I thought I'd just slip in there, while Michael's over there trying to make the deal of a lifetime with Hyman Roth. Revolution of, Cuba. We'll just slip that in there. That's just crazy.
I mean, it's a crazy movie, crazy series. Like you said, we could talk about this for hours because there's so much to uncover because they're such long movies, but you forget that they're so long because, really you get entrapped in the story. And I'm not saying you got to do it in one sitting.
Right. We broke it up because we got day jobs.
We got lives. And so we did it. We probably took like 3 breaks in between. Right. We did it in like 3 parts. And that works fine, but you need to really pay attention. You know what I mean? It's a really good movie to watch just to understand, the techniques and how perfect movies can be. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So talking about technique, remember we noticed sometimes he uses music for the atmosphere, and then sometimes it's just sound. Like when he was gearing up to kill the cop in the first movie.
Yeah.
It's just sound, or like sound of the surroundings. It doesn't have dun da da. It doesn't have. Sometimes it doesn't even have atmosphere. And that's hard to pull off.
He uses like music within the movie.
Right.
He doesn't add his own. He finds a way to have music within the movie so that, it's that natural dramatic effect. He's not adding a dramatic effect to it. He's just giving it a natural dramatic effect because it's already within the movie.
Right.
But then it feels like you're in the movie. You're there watching. You're in the, in the main character's body or whatever is happening in that scene. You're in that person's body because he's not like detaching it from reality. He's not adding like dramatic music. He's not adding like dum, dum, dum.
Right. So what do we call that? We've talked about this. We call that you move the music or you move the movie. It doesn't move you. Mm-hmm. They're moving it. And what other movie can you just do this? And let's end it there.
Yeah.
And blow you away. Huh? That's crazy. This is the shot I'm going to do. And it's just him.
I mean, that's the best part.
And you can see there's a feeling, and I've been watching this movie for 30 years as a kid. Oh, don't you feel like you're seeing his brain working gears? Right? Isn't that weird?
And that's the best part of my opinion because he didn't have to end it with a dramatic, just dramatic ending. Yeah. He didn't have to do that because that's how beautiful the movie is. You know what I mean? If you guys watch any other movies, you see this dramatic ending, this cliffhanger, this, whatever it is. It's not a cliffhanger. It's not dramatic. It's just the end. And you watch it and you sit there.
But in silence.
Right.
It's a whole ensemble of the entire movie summed up into Michael Corleone's mind. And what's he going to do next? And what a messed up thing he did. You right? That's it. Yeah. All right. That's it, man.
All right.
Your spiel.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. This was the review of The Godfather 2. If you enjoyed this one, give it a like, drop a comment, drop any other movies you want us to review. We will review any movie you put down there. Like I said, just drop any movie you want us to do and we will do it. We will let you know how it is and, so you can be sure when you're going out to watch it, you're not wasting your money. And that's it. Make
Oh,
sure you
baby.
subscribe. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you like. Go check out other videos.
All right, man.
And that's it.
Ciao, Walk. Peace out.
Beautiful.